One of the first monologues I ever delivered on this show was called The 4 C's, my methodology for having difficult conversations with folks with whom you disagree. And at the time, it was primarily motivated by the extreme political divisions we were feeling here in America in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election. But over the past year, the primary need for this playbook within the Jewish community has shifted. The animus towards Jews who love Israel, who know the difference between a humanist and a jihadist, between a war and a genocide, between truth and propaganda, is stronger than ever. So, it's not surprising that the question I'm asked with the most urgency these days is, how do I deal with the people in my life who have decided to make being anti-Israel a pillar of their personality at the expense of our relationship? Well, have no fear, friends. A refreshed version of my method is here, and I'm going to walk you through the process step by step through what is now called the 5 C's of difficult conversation. Now, before you can even begin the conversation, let me be crystal clear about what my approach is meant to achieve and what your expectations should be. And this is probably the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. The point of your conversation is not to change the person's mind. Let go of that desired outcome right now. Maybe it'll happen over time, over many conversations, over private soul searching, or maybe not at all. But it definitely ain't going to happen in this convo. First of all, people don't want to have their minds changed. Even smart people suffer from a variety of cognitive biases that predispose them to stick to what they already believe and reject or diminish any facts, no matter how salient, that do not confirm their already predetermined position. Moreover, if your conversation partner sniffs out an agenda, their defensive wall will go up. They don't want to be proven wrong, and in fact, in their minds, it is you who has the explaining to do. You are the one who is a, quote, genocide supporter, or, quote, loves killing babies, or whatever disgusting anti-zionist libel they've assigned to you. Their primary interest is in explaining their own position and hearing just enough of yours to ensure you pass their morality test. Fun, isn't it? Any change they do or do not make will have to be of their own choosing in their own time. It's just the way it is. So why, you might be asking, should you even bother with this conversation at all? Because the goal here is the preservation of your relationship. To bring an end to the "does this person really hate Jews?" question on your side, and the "does this person really like starving children?" on theirs. To reestablish your intimate relationship that connects you in the first place, and to leave on good terms. Once all that has been accomplished, at the very least, you can agree to disagree on Israel and still be able to function together socially with less tension and more fun. That's our goal. That's the desired outcome. More preamble. 2 key ground rules that must be followed before the conversation can take place. Number 1, you must have this conversation in person. You can accomplish certain things via text or email or DMs, but meaningful understanding isn't one of them. You need body language, tone, familiarity, eye contact to keep the warmth and goodwill flowing and to keep the walls down, both theirs and yours. And you need time. I'm talking 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted hang time so you can give yourselves the room and freedom to really go deep, unrushed. Number 2, make sure this relationship is actually worth the effort to preserve it. Here's my simple test. If the only reason you'd be getting together today with this person is to disagree with them about Israel, that's a good indicator they're probably not worth the investment of time and energy. Okay, now that we've laid our foundation and expectations, it's time for the 5 C's. First up is the newest C, Cabernet Sauvignon, or Chardonnay, Chenin Blanc, Claret, you get the idea. When I say this to a live audience, it usually gets a laugh, but I'm dead serious. Having a discussion over a drink is not about getting tipsy, it's about setting a tone. You're here to enjoy a conversation together, not assume a battle stance behind a podium for ferocious debate. Having a drink is what we do among friends. It's disarming, it cuts the tension immediately, and it tells your partner this is a safe space to continue being whatever it is you have been to each other until now. Also, everything's better with wine. Come on! The next C is for camaraderie. Be cheeky, go on tangents, make jokes, take breaks. You are here as friends, as loved ones, having a robust but friendly conversation, same as if you were talking about your careers or global warming or the war in Ukraine. If they say something you find ridiculous, giggle instead of getting mad, or as I like to say, be tickled, not prickled. You and this person are not going to solve the Middle East crisis over dinner, so don't act like that's what you're there to do. What you are there to do brings me to my next C, curiosity. You must actually be interested in gaining understanding of where your partner is coming from. And if you don't have it, fake it till you make it. Really listen and absorb. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Ask follow-up questions. Obviously, they've been gulping down propaganda, but at least you'll come away with more of a why. Maybe they felt lied to in day school, or their only Jewish friends are also anti-Israel, or they're a social justice warrior who goes with the rest of the pack, etc., etc. Understanding where they're coming from reminds you of their humanity, however flawed, which can take some of the sting out of the bad feelings. You'll likely discover they're not jihadists, just well-meaning people who have been sadly misguided, or intellectually lazy, or harbor unexamined biases against Jews. It's not great, but it's palatable, and it's definitely better than not knowing where they're coming from. And better is what we're going for. The next C is for calm. If you show up for this conversation fired up and ready to unleash, it's gonna fail. This has to be dispassionate and tension-free. And I'm not telling you shouldn't have deep feelings about what you're divulging or discussing. Of course you should, and you will. But you need to keep your impulsive emotions in check. You can't get mad, you can't shut down, you can't raise your voice, or the walls will go up and the progress will stop. And last, but certainly not least, C number 5, compassion. Remember that you love this person. Remember that they are lost and don't know it. Remember that their own lived experience has brought them to this point. And even if you think they're wrong in their conclusions, their experience is not invalid. Remember, they have been captured by a well-funded, highly strategic, ideological cult of hate, decades in the making. Remember that you can probably make every argument for them, and they probably can't make a single one of yours, and you're going to have to be okay with that. Because again, the goal is the relationship. Also, give them the opportunity to have compassion for you. Lead with your vulnerability as the other side of this relationship. It's not, you have to believe XYZ or you're an idiot. It's, as my friend, when you didn't reach out to me after the worst massacre of my people in generations, I felt abandoned. I needed you and you were not there for me. Keep the focus on the relationship and the love between you. If you can preserve that, everything else is on the table. I also find it helpful to remind myself that whether or not this person supports Israel will not change anything materially for the world. What Israel does or does not do will not be affected by your cousin's beliefs, so we have to take those stakes out of it. What is at stake is being able to live and love together. And don't be afraid to say that out loud. Make the implicit explicit. Let them know cherishing your relationship is the entire reason you're sitting down together at all. God willing, they get that, and you can get on the same page about what's needed to keep your connection alive despite your disagreements. Maybe they don't get it, and you can still love them, but maybe they drop down a peg in the inner circles of your heart. And that's okay too. It's sad, but it's okay, and you'll be okay, even if it hurts. If you do decide to try my 5 C's out, please let me know. Head to beingjewishpodcast.com/contact, scroll down, and leave me a voice message. I want to know what worked for you, what didn't, and how things stand for you now. So, behatzlacha, good luck, and remember, as the great one, Wayne Gretzky, once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Communication might not solve everything, but not communicating definitely solves nothing. This is the 50th episode of Being Jewish with me, Jonah Platt.